Chapter 1 Human Collides with the Universe. I met a human today. You met a what? Squawked my friend Hawk, who sat perched beside me. I believe she said a human, laughed the 3,000-year-old baobab tree on which the three of us sat, the third being Leopard, who lay splayed across baobab's thick branches. What do you mean met? And why do you look like you have gulped too much oxygen? Queried the turquoise ocean, its waves lapping below us. Well, I was flying along ocean, trying to catch the one fish that meets my daily survival need, when all of a sudden, wind, our buddy, changed its direction and blew me over a cliff and into a human. He was sitting under a tree with his legs crossed and seemed to be engaged in the human act of praying. What a magnificent specimen of human he was. Blue-eyed, broad-chested, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a smile that made my wings wilt. Their bodies are a splendid creation in the multitude of ways they can experience this earth. But so is their ignorance of how they can experience the universe for a limited time in a form that is so unique. Oh, brother, smiled Hawk, you do know that this is never going to work. Humans don't even think they are a species, let alone a part of nature. You got that right, muttered Baobab. I always hear them talking underneath me about this species and that species, as if we exist on a different plane, almost as if they themselves are not a species. But that's not the worst of it. They keep babbling on about nature, unaware that they are a very part of the definition of nature. Eagle. Ask your blue-eyed human the next time you are having an interspecies chat, who exactly do they think they are? If they do not see themselves as connected to us, then what are they? You plan to meet him again? Stretched Leopard, almost causing him to roll right off Baobab and into ocean. I have no choice. Universe spoke to me in the silence between my breaths and told me the time has come to explain yoga and the universe to the human. It is the only way to ensure the survival of all of us. For we have entered Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, vice, and misery. If humans do not connect to their true selves, and by extension to us, life as we know it will end. Plus, I think I have a little crush on the human. Their form is so interesting, I mumbled into the wind, knowing that my fellow energetic forms would think I'd completely lost my animal brain. Eagle. Snap out of it. You know we can hear your mind. And honestly, you are not saying what we all want to know, Float Ocean. What did the two of you speak about? Many things I hopped about. But mostly I tried to explain to him that him and I were the same. We were united in our consciousness and had been born from the same intelligent universe that pervades all of us. I shared with him that all living beings are merely vibrating intelligent energies, each with their own essence and history that started long before they entered their present-day form. What separated us was our forms, the human one being the most complex of all of nature's forms. Which they think makes them smart, but I know it just layers them with ignorance, as it keeps moving them further away from their soul or pure consciousness, as some of them like to call it. At this, we all burst out into such a tidal wave of laughter that the mycelium below the earth and all the animals housed in the ocean's large and fabulous body felt the vibration. And soon all of nature was laughing with us, except humans, because their egos and conditioned mind had buried their connection to the rest of us. What exactly did you tell him? Asked Butterfly, who had brought all its majestic colors and elegance to this confluence of energies. Well, once he got over the shock that he and I could converse, and he looked beyond my sexy feathered body, it went something like this. Now, Corey, I'm going to tell you a story. If you allow yourself to listen to the whole story with an open mind and heart, it will change your life forever. In the beginning, it will seem gigantic and implausible. However, by the end of it, what seemed impossible will transform into the possible. It is not a story based on any religion, caste, color, nationality, or any of the other major categories by which you humans define yourselves. No, it is a story that will take you on a journey into yourself. a journey that will reconnect you to your true conscious self so that you may learn to live a life of peace and joy. No, it is not a fairy tale, a myth, or a fantasy. It is, in fact, the true story of yoga. But first, let's start with the foundations of this story. Imagine a blank screen as big as the world. Now imagine that screen is filled with trillions and trillions of vibrating dots, each representing intelligent conscious energy. You know, how the television set looked back in the day when all the programming was done and the screen turned into thousands of vibrating dots. I paused for a moment, feeling the warmth and love of the deep, orange, glamorous sun beginning to rise, adding light to the place at which we all met. Well, go on, nudged Hawk, stretching its majestic wings. Okay, so are you imagining the screen with all the vibrating dots? They all nodded in unison, although Leopard's head was so big it nearly fell off Baobab again, when the tree nodded its branches as well. Now, take a stick and start to draw shapes on it, the shape of trees, birds, animals, oceans, clouds, and yes, even the human. As he visualized that, I explained to him that everything in the universe, of which Earth is a part, is just vibrating energy, at different frequencies and different forms. All of us are part of the same screen. It is just our form and essence that is different. Erase the form and ting, we are back to vibrating across the screen seeking a new form. So let me get this right, sang Butterfly. All we are is energy, and this fabulous body I live in is just a house for my energy. Remove my house and my consciousness, which is energy, lives on. So really, it is only our forms and the frequency at which we are vibrating that differentiate us. Energetically, we are all connected, and therefore the actions of each of us affect all of us. Yes, sirree, I fluttered. All of us are just energy, and in that energy our consciousness is held. When we plug into it, we can talk to everyone, dolphins, flowers, earth, the entire universe, just as we are doing in this moment, because each of us are a part of the same screen. We were all birthed by the universe, or God as it is known to some. Therefore, the DNA of the universe is in all of us, and all we, well, they the human must do is access it. Whoa, back up there, Miss Eagle, swayed Baobab. You had me until you got to that universe stuff. Please explain that to me. The other day I had these humans leaning against my trunk, oming and thanking the universe as if it existed in our friend Sky, and that was therefore separate from them. They treated it as if it were an object. I started to hop along the branch all excited, so excited that I hopped right off the branch. I flew over Ocean, dived in, felt Ocean's energy dance with mine, and then rocketed back up to the branch. You all may want to do a salutation and move your energy because this is big, and your happy tiny animal brains may just explode. I laughed at my friends. And so they all moved in their unique way, each salutation influenced by the limitations of the body that housed them. When they were done, they all settled back into a listening position. Ah, the human. For a moment I allowed myself to settle on his shoulder and feel his energy, as I had that very morning not far from the place I was born. A nest filled with all the trash that humans threw onto Earth as if Earth did not have feelings or value. Yet they had taken Earth to be theirs and theirs alone and split it, created boundaries, and then sold it or distributed it. Then they told other humans what boundaries they could and could not cross. Can you imagine if all the species on the planet did that? For sure Earth would kick our fabulous natural bottoms for being so presumptuous as to behave as if she belonged to anyone. You are right about that, bellowed Earth from below. Eagle, you keep forgetting we can all read your mind, so please keep your feathers on when dreaming about the human. But you are right. I am tired of humans and their conditioned belief that I belong to them and them alone. That they can cut my trees, kill my animals, dam and pollute my water bodies, attempt to sell my ground and basically treat me as if they gave rise to me and not the other way around. as if I were manifested just to pander to their needs and no one else's. They forget that I birthed them as well. Amen to that, Ocean Splashed. Of all the universe's manifestations, I am slightly bamboozled by the human. However, I feel that by the end of this story, Eagle will give us all a little more insight into the human. After all, yoga did arrive to bring the human back into the fold of nature by reconnecting them with the universe that resides within them. So tell us, Eagle, how exactly did you explain to the handsome human the universe? Well, as we perched on the cliff overlooking ocean with only a breath between us, I told him this. Once upon a time, the consciousness of the universe, which we shall call the universe or the masculine Purusha, collided with nature, the feminine Prakriti. Prior to this entanglement, nature, defined as force upon matter, lay in a slumber, and it was completely balanced. Each of its three gunas lay still, as there was no force being presented on any of them. When the universe collided into force, however, it created a vibration in matter that woke up each of the gunas, and that vibration was Om. In that vibration, the gunas ignited themselves into movement and gave rise to the 5 elements and all of creation. There was the Rajasic guna, which sought to create and move, the Sattvic guna, which sought to balance and peace, and the Tamasic guna, which by its very nature gave rise to death and transformation. Each was a force of their own that constantly intertwined with the other to give rise to all of creation and the cycle of life and death. As earth formed, it also gave rise to multitudes of living beings, including humans, which we shall henceforth call nature, each made up of varying portions of the 5 elements and all the gunas. As a result, all of nature was constantly shifting, changing, transforming, and evolving as each guna sought to find balance with the other 2. Hence, why volcanoes erupt, hurricanes occur, living beings continually shift and change, and so forth, because they are all seeking to come back into balance. Now, intertwined in all this nature was the universe that had become entangled in it upon collision. The result of this entanglement was that consciousness had entered every living being to experience that which it assisted in creating. The universe was a genius, made up of intelligence, love, and the radiance of light that manifested itself as conscious energy. Its intelligence was seen in every living being's ability to adapt, flow, and survive in the constant impermanence of nature. In every being except the human, consciousness manifested itself clearly as the ability of living beings to connect with all of nature's energy force, to hear it, read it, and survive within it without attaching to the impermanence of it, but rather flowing with it and accepting death and life, living according to their purpose. However, in the human, the magnitude and complexity of nature was so large that consciousness was buried, so that it remained almost invisible to them. Yet, of all the planet's creation, it was the human form that had evolved as the most sophisticated being and became the only form conscious of itself with a sense of I am, at least that we know of. As a result, it was only in the human being that the individual soul was able to purify itself of karmas and impressions that had been grooved into it from past and present actions, and be aware of itself. As the soul, the observer of all, was only able to see itself in the reflection of a clean and pure mind. For only in a mind cleaned of all impurities was the soul able to guide the human form, to create, to move forward with its own evolution and that of the universe, as well as to experience all of nature's magnificence without being entangled in it. At this, Corey burst out into laughter and looked at me. So let me guess. You are now going to tell me that you, the stunning eagle, are smarter than me, the human, part of the species that has invented the rocket, the spaceship, internet, and vaccines because you lead from your soul and we from our mind. Being a bird and all, I was unfamiliar with human sarcasm and amazed at how smart he was for being a human. He already acknowledged that my Purusha was smarter than all his Prakritris, his senses, mind, etc. So I replied, "Yes, of course I am. And you are a genius for recognizing that. But it is not as simple as that." I'm not sure why he looked so bamboozled, but I guess it was because the concept of the universe was too big for him. So I continued trying to explain it to him. The universe, Corey, or infinite space, is filled with frequencies that carry information. It is a mind, but not the shallow, frivolous mind with which you humans identify. Instead, the word most often used to describe the mind and life, that is the universe, is God. The universe is a single field of information where there is no time, where polarities and dualities become one, where there is no separation or division, where everything you ever need to know exists. It is where your pure consciousness lives on long after your body, your form, has died. Do you know that there were these human scientists that did this experiment, where they increased the vibration of 2 photons in a vacuum? They believed that if they were truly separate from each other, that when one photon disappeared, the other would disappear soon after it. But what happened surprised the pants off of them, metaphorically speaking, of course. They both disappeared at the exact same time because there is no separation between anything. I can tell from the look on your face that you are a little lost, and of course you are. This topic is huge. It is why I need to explain all the pieces for you to fully understand the whole. "So I will meet you again?" he asked, piercing my soul with his blue eyes and lightening my heart with his smile. "You will not just fly away and leave me in ignorance and just half-truths and knowledge?" "I most certainly will not. What kind of eagle do you take me for? I was sent here to explain you to you, and to give you all the tools and knowledge to erase all your layers of ignorance, the ones you have laid down since birth so that you may connect with your true self, your soul, the place where all the answers to everything exists." He laughed at this, a deep, splendid laugh, and then turned to me. "Okay, beautiful. You have my complete attention. So where do we start?" "Well, we shall start with understanding what is yoga. However, I must take your leave now. We shall pick up here next time we meet." With that, I turned to him and bowed to the soul within both of us. I then hopped off the cliff and gave him my boldest and most elegant salutation, and landed beside him to wish him goodbye.